With the announcement of a new LEGO Batman game coming up next year, I had the desire to play through the older LEGO games. And playing through these games made me remember why I have such fond memories of playing them in my childhood. So let's get into... If you are like me and have a sibling, or you played with friends when you were younger, you know how amazing the co-op gameplay is in LEGO games. Now, in some of the older LEGO games, I will admit that the camera not allowing you to get too far away from each other can be a little annoying at times, as you can drag the person you are playing with away from where they want to be going. But honestly, most of the time I feel like this is good for co-op, because it really does make sure you are working in tandem with your partner. Most puzzles are laid out in a way that one person needs to be doing a certain thing, either with their specific ability or just a generic thing that either player could do, in order to have the other person progress to where both players can continue through the level. Doing puzzles in this way ensures that each player feels included and that one player isn't just steamrolling through the level while the other player does nothing, which, as a younger brother, I appreciated feeling directly included and important through gameplay rather than just being an obstacle or dead weight. The fact that each player had to cooperate with the other was actually a great way to enforce that through teamwork and communication, great things can happen, which is a surprisingly great lesson to have in any video game, but especially in a game targeting younger audiences. When I was younger, I really enjoyed smashing through every destructible object in every level and seeing all of the studs pop out and hear all of the sound effects that come with doing this. Heck, I still enjoy it to this day. It is just so addictive to do. And you also get rewarded with studs for doing so, and sometimes you find pieces to build something that will progress the level, or unlock a secret. So it's not like you're doing it for no purpose. The game actually encourages you to do this because it knows it is very fun to do. In most levels, the puzzles are just obvious enough that you know what to do, but it still feels rewarding to complete the puzzles set out in front of you, and as I mentioned in the previous section, completing a co-op puzzle is even more satisfying, because your teamwork pays off. Another good thing about the level design is that there is always something on screen for you to do or interact with, making it feel like you are always doing something and staying engaged with the game, leading to there never being a dull moment. All of these things separately may seem small, but when you add them all together, you get very fun and engaging gameplay, and TT Games knows it because for the most part, every single LEGO game has the same gameplay because it is such an effective design. At their core, the new games maintain this design philosophy, but also expand into newer types of level design, like the open worlds in LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, and seemingly in The Legacy of the Dark Knight. I enjoyed the option to explore the planets in the Skywalker Saga, but I hope that the Legacy of the Dark Knight has a better open world with more things to do, similar to the Batman Arkham games, because in the Skywalker Saga, it felt like the planets had a lot of stuff to do, without actually having that much to do, if that makes any sense. Yes, there were a lot of collectibles strewn about the open worlds, but it felt like sometimes you wouldn't even have to do anything to get them. You might just stumble across a Kyber brick, or you just have to switch characters to get a Kyber brick. What I'm trying to say is Skywalker Saga felt a little bloated, and I hope that the Legacy of the Dark Knight is more deliberate with its collectibles, because, as I will get to later, collectibles are another key part of what makes LEGO games so good. When you think of a LEGO game, the first thing that you probably think of is the gameplay. But a close second is the hilarious way these stories are told. Back before the games had voice acting is probably when LEGO humor peaked, because they had to make characters mime out actions or draw out plans, all while mumbling in order to get their points across. And surprisingly, it worked great. You can tell what the characters would be talking about, but this also provides opportunity for slapstick comedy, as well as moments of hilarious misunderstanding from characters. I'd say the first LEGO Batman game was very creative in the ways they did this, but that is not to discredit the later games, it's just different. The Star Wars games and Harry Potter games without voice acting also had their fair share of funny moments. I just think that LEGO Batman had it perfected, with all of Robin's silly fails, Batman just aura farming constantly, and the villains interacting with each other. This is not to say that the games with voice acting don't also have their moments. LEGO Batman 2 and 3 have some moments that stand out, like Batman locking himself in the Batmobile so he doesn't have to interact with Superman, Robin constantly wanting to call Superman but Batman won't do it, and then possibly one of my favorite moments, Joker singing about having the whole world in his pants after Brainiac shrinks down Earth. Something about it is just so funny to me.
I've got the whole world in my pants! I've got the whole wide world in my pants!
Joker, shut up!
Also, Skywalker Saga has its share of moments as well. The Palpatine alarm clock saying, "Do it," over and over, a protocol droid telling you about a Tusken Raider camp being home not to just the men, but the women and the children too, and the assassin bugs that try to get Padme being squashed, just to name a few. I really hope that Legacy of the Dark Knight keeps the iconic LEGO charm intact, and by the looks of the trailers, it seems like this will be the case, which is awesome! Something that adds to the experience of playing these games is the sheer number of collectibles that levels have, and in newer games, the open worlds have so many things to collect as well, which, as I mentioned earlier, isn't always a good thing. In the older games, there were usually 10 mini-kits in each level for you to collect, sometimes a citizen in peril to rescue, but that was the extent of it. You were able to collect quite a few of the mini-kits on your first run through the level. Then you would go back in free play to clean up the few that you were missing, which worked great as it gave you a reason to go back and play through the levels in free play mode, which extends the amount of time you're enjoying the game, which is a great thing. In the newer games, it gets a little more complicated, and I'd say worse in terms of collectibles in levels. In newer games like Skywalker Saga, you'll be lucky to get 4 mini-kits through your story playthrough of the levels, which just makes it frustrating because you can see plenty of these mini-kits throughout the level. They're just arbitrarily unobtainable on your first run-through of the level, which could be said for mini-kits in earlier games, but to me it just feels different, and I don't know how to explain it, so maybe it's just an issue I have. In the newer games, there are also open worlds filled with collectibles, ranging from simple parkour challenges, having a certain character unlocked, to vehicle races through the open world, all the way to full-on multi-step side quests that take you all over the open world. I think LEGO DC Supervillains does a great job handling open world collectibles, as there's a good variety of ways to get these collectibles, as well as a good variety of collectibles, such as characters, vehicles, gold bricks, and red bricks, all obtainable throughout the open world. I hope TT Games sticks with this type of approach for Legacy of the Dark Knight. Another iconic part of LEGO games that makes them so great is the character rosters included in each game, ranging from 46 all the way up to 400 plus, including iconic characters as well as deep-cut characters that only real fans will know, which is a great spread of characters to have in a game. Almost all of these characters have unique designs specifically used for them, and if they are more of a popular character, they may even have their own animations or sets of skills used exclusively for that character, which is just awesome that every character is designed with so much intent behind them, and making them true to who they are, either in movies or comics that they've appeared in. As well as the characters designed for the games by the developers, some LEGO games let you make your own custom characters, which is just really cool to do, as you can make someone based off of you, or the abilities you find cool, or just make a fictional character that wasn't included in the game. LEGO DC Supervillains has by far the best custom character maker, which makes sense because your original character is the main character of the game, or at the very least, an integral piece to the story. You get to customize how they look, their animation mannerisms, the weapons they use, the style of fighting they use, and the abilities they have. So you really could make a character that no one else has ever made before, which is just a really cool thing to think about. Now, talking about how iconic the character rosters for LEGO games are brings up a potentially huge issue with Legacy of the Dark Knight. Right now, it sounds like there are only 7 playable characters in the game, which is a horribly low number. Now, I know they each are going to have plenty of outfits referencing comics and movie appearances, but that doesn't make them different characters. And if there are truly only the 7 playable characters confirmed so far, we won't even be able to play as the villains of the game, which is just absolutely unacceptable, especially because we will be getting so many iconic appearances for classic villains, and if we can't play as them, that will be extremely disappointing. I am hoping that this is just a case of poor communication by the developers, and the 7 characters are going to be the only playable ones throughout the story mode, which still isn't great, but it's better, and then there will be a ton of characters that we can play as while we are exploring the open world. But I'm not getting my hopes up yet. I just really want this to be the case, because if we finally get the ultimate LEGO Batman game, and there are only 7 characters we can play as, that will honestly be heartbreaking for me and many other LEGO game fans, because character rosters are such a huge part of what makes LEGO games so special. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have watched this far, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, as it helps the channel out a ton. Thank you all for watching, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and good gaming to you all.